Aloha guys and girls, today I've got a list that wasn't created by me. Well, the idea wasn't. Stijn van Rossum actually came up with this idea, and since I thought it was a good idea, I decided I'd make the list. So, thank you very much to Stijn van Rossum, and let's hop into the criteria that I used for the making of this video. So, I looked at all the classes when they are at their best in slot gear, also known as and referred to by me as BIS. And I quickly realized that it's going to be hard to include any cloth spellcaster, since almost every spell power class wants some of that sweet crit haste cloth gear. For example, a spell power trinket like Charged Twilight Scale, there are 5 classes that potentially need them, and if you compare that to a tanking trinket like Petrified Twilight Scale, only 4 classes need that. However, in a raiding situation you will have far more spellcasters than tanks, therefore making tanks really easy to gear. I looked at every item slot for each character and compared how hard it is to get each slot on their respective best in slot item. If you take a look at this rogue, you will see a few things. One is that I rank tier gear as very easy to get. Considering it is EOFs for the first piece, you will always be able to get it no problem. The second thing to note here is that I am transmogged, so take the icons for granted and focus on the text. Thirdly, trinkets are obviously considered very hard to get. Since they don't drop very often and a lot of classes need them, they are very hard to get. You catching my criterias? Fourthly, if you have an item slot like the cloak on rogues, where it's very easy to get a emblem of frost cloak, or very hard to get a TOGC 25 cloak, which entails you to beat TOGC 25 heroic without wiping a single time. However, since the difference in stats is so small, I think you could take either and be fine, and by mixing very easy and very hard you get... that's right, moderate. And last but not least, there are a few classes I haven't geared myself and therefore can't properly give you information on them, but Corgi, but fear not, that is only a handful of classes. From there on, I took the top 5 easiest to gear classes and dropped them into the video making machine and...
Data rejected, go fuck yourself!
Okay, that's like the second time you've done this, PC. Are you error?
I am beyond the mere error, I am the...
Yeah, enough of that.
No!
Starting off with the most unique ranged DPS class in the game, you'd figured they don't have a hard time gearing, and you would be right. A lot of their gear is specifically crafted for them, it seems, and they don't have the problems that a lot of other DPS classes face, which is a plater taking an item from a leather user. None of that, because all the stats you want on a hunter are on male items. Agility, intellect, and some crit haste and attack power. Feels good. It almost feels like there is another class Blizzard should have made male armor for, but as of making this video in 2019, there is no other viable option for a huge selection of their gear, which makes it easier for them to gear. The only obstacle hunters can run into is the dreaded armor penetration trinkets. Almost every melee DPS class needs them, and since hunters is a ranged physical DPS class, well, they also need them. Besides that though, all your tier gear is super easy to get and you should always have priority on ranged weapons considering it is your main damage. If a rogue or a fury warrior takes your crossbow or gun that you needed as a DPS increase and then tells you, "It's stats bro," you can tell that guy to fuck right off in my name. Seriously, guys, be nice to each other and pass on loot that you do not need as much as other people rolling for it. Resto Shaman is yet another male class. Are you starting to see a pattern? A little bit. Shamans, Hunters and potentially Paladins are the only 3 classes that really utilize male gear. Coming in with the same benefit as Hunters have, they need by far the easiest mark for tier upgrades. And of course they wear mail, which only the Holy Paladin can take away from them and use for himself. Why Resto Shamans are so easy to gear lies with their totem slot. If it was any harder to get it than via EOFs or EOTs, if you prefer that one, the Hunter would have undoubtedly rocketed the Shaman off his knockers because they are basically tied up in my criteria. Needless to say, I could have went with Resto Shamans in my 5th spot if it wasn't for that damned BQL neck. A regular pain in the ass to get that one. I've just mentioned their name in the last entry and that was with good reason. Boy are they easy to gear. A lot of their best or semi-best gear can easily be bought off the auction house, granted you have the money to do so. They get yet another lucky break with their plate armor typing. This allows them to fully use all the gear available in the game. Cloth, check. Leather, check. Mail, check. So they undoubtedly got the most OP armor typing in the game. They can damn near use every weapon as well. The only exceptions are daggers and staffs. They even get another boon with their Libram slot. Since Ulduar, Blizzard decided, you know what? Fuck putting Librams and totems on bosses. You can buy them for a week's worth of EOF or alternatively EOT. In 3.3.5, Holy Paladins are often also using the Libram of Renewal, which only costs like 15 emblems of Heroism, Valor, Triumph, I don't know, one of them. Holy Paladins come with some of the easiest to fill armor slots in the game, and it comes with no surprise that they rank high on this list. Alright, so now we've started talking about a class which I think doesn't have a single item that can be considered hard to get. In my criteria, I basically looked at every class I thought would come close to being a quote-unquote easy to gear class, then I took each of those classes and gave each item slot a lovely individual criteria: very easy, easy, moderate, hard or very hard. And I'm excited to say that warriors only got a single item in the moderate criteria. The other items were all either very easy or easy. Needless to say, the rating that protection warriors got blew H-Pala away. But why is it so easy to gear? It lies within the fact that there are only 2 tanks present in a standard raid. Now I know some people like to 3-tank Blood Prince Council, or that you need a 3rd tank for Ruby Sanctum 25 Heroic. But honestly, there are usually a few people changing their main spec anyway, so you can expect like 2 or 3 people rolling on your gear regardless. However, the chances that they need the same gear as you, or that someone outrolls or outbids you, is still very much lower than with all the spell power or attack power items. Alright, I know my main is a protection paladin and that this is massively biased, but what the hell man, it's my list, of course it's gonna be biased. I've geared all of my own characters primarily by rating. I'm not above finishing a best in slot character with a coin item or 2 though. If you can sell the gold or however you want to get your hand on some coins, feel free, the option's there to do so. However, a protection paladin donating is simply decommended. That's the opposite of recommended. Protection paladin just blew the opposition away on my criteria. Every piece that they have to get I consider either easy or very easy. The only downside they really get is that they need conqueror marks. From my own experience, it is by far the hardest and most expensive mark to get, whether that be with DKP or EPGP. It also helps a lot that some of the protection paladin items can literally be replaced by a BOE. Think about the boots or the legs from blacksmithing. Some people are even livid in believing that the armor pants is actually best in slot. To those people I would like to say, pop a mother-loving armor potion. That was it for the list today. I hope I managed to live up to Stijn van Rossum's expectations and, well, the rest of you's expectations. Remember to leave your own ideas in the comment section and maybe I'll be like, hey, that's a great idea. Don't worry if you don't though, I on a weekly basis can always come up with great ideas for videos like how to disarm ICC traps. Purely educational that was. Alright, I think that's all I got for today ladies and gentlemen, so allow me to GTFO.